At Dave Cooper Live, we connect the industry leaders in the architectural, engineering, and construction space with the people, the products, and the processes to help them build it better. Oh my goodness, it looks like we had a little bit of a faux pas on our live show. But hey, listen, everybody, welcome to Dave Cooper Live. Last week, we spoke with Hanneke van Deursen from the City of Chattanooga about one of the most innovative affordable housing finance programs in America. Today, we're taking this to the next step, because great policy means nothing if nobody actually builds anything. And joining us today is Stratton Tingle from Wind River Built, one of the builders working directly with Chattanooga's affordable housing initiatives. We're going to discuss what happens when policy meets reality. Can affordable housing actually pencil out? What does it take to get a project financed? And can modular construction help in that process? And what lessons can cities, developers, and builders learn from Chattanooga's approach? Most importantly, we're going to hear from someone who actually had to get the homes built. But before we do any or all of this, we first need to have a few words from our supporting members. CombiLift is the largest global manufacturer of multi-directional forklifts and straddle carriers, a leader in long load handling solutions, offering a free warehouse and site optimization design service. CombiLift helps companies of all sizes and from every industry maximize the capacity, safety, and efficiency of their warehouse and storage facilities. A big thank you to Paul Short and the team at CombiLift for helping us all to build it better. Visit them at combilift.com. Every build deserves comfort that lasts. Cobalt Creed helps builders and offsite manufacturers reach new levels of indoor air quality and efficiency. With their proprietary small duct, high velocity central heating and cooling system, quiet, compact, powerful, Cobalt Creed, building comfort into every building. Learn more at cobaltcreed.com. All right, a big thank you to all of our supporting members out there. We can't do any or all of this without all of their help behind the scenes, because this show is live, it is unedited, and it is for you out there to help you make better decisions. And we would love to have you as a guest on our show as well. So pull out your phone, open that camera app, and click on that QR code up there. Even if you don't want to be on the show and you know somebody that should be on this show, if they are building it better or they are making a difference in how we build and get things built, we want to talk to them. We want to know who they are. So with that said, right there is the QR code, and I'll put that up a few more times for. All right. Before we go any further here, I think it is time to bring on Stratton Tingle. Stratton, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Dave. It's great to be here. I'm honored to be on the show. What an awesome intro. And I feel like, I need to be matching your energy level. Should I be like yelling at the, you're awesome, man. I love the energy.
I get all excited, especially when this program does something silly like it did in the beginning. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on here? No, listen, it's exciting to talk about what we talk about, Stratton, because, I'm only speaking with forward-thinking people every day in my life. I always say I have the best job in the world. I know I joke around about Dave Cooper Live being a hobby that went terribly wrong, but the reality of it is it went terribly right. You know, who knew that this is where it led us to? But even what you guys are doing at Wind River Built, and we're going to get into all of that. We're going to talk about the pilot program and the affordable housing and the ADUs and the park models, all the things you guys are building. But Stratton, before we do that, you know the drill, man. We want to know everything about you from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. Do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or we're going to have a family member on from New Orleans, by the way. And I know that could get a little bit ugly. I know them New Orleans band player types. The floor is yours.
It's only Wednesday at 1 p.m. Let's wait till Friday night for all that. I'm Stratton Tingle. Thanks again for having me on. From I'm born till now, I think I'll give you the real synopsis. Yeah, I'm from Louisiana originally. Ended up going to college around here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, at Southern Adventist University, and from there, I was a musician. You might not tell it right now, but my hair has been growing for about 23 years. It's down past my knees. I'm 6'2", so I got some long hair, and yes, I am a musician. I think everybody from New Orleans probably is. And I did music and film for the first number of years of making life work post college. At some point, I needed to find a day job. I landed a day job at the Chattanooga Chamber of Commerce, kind of a very entry-level position with the chamber, and worked there for about 6 years, got into economic development, got into all the things that make a community work, the business community and the government community. And so built some significant background there for myself. And then my weekend and nighttime musicianship kind of blended with my daytime Chamber of Commerce side. And I was asked to found and run a nonprofit organization focused on building Chattanooga's music economy. That organization is called SoundCore. I was recruited in 2014 to do that, and I ran it for 10 years and left SoundCore to join Wind River Built. And a lot of people's eyebrows kind of raised like, oh, what? You're going to join the tiny home company? What are you doing, Stratton? I don't get it. But it makes sense because I know a number of the leaders at Wind River Built. I've been following their company for a number of years, or following us now for a number of years. And it's a really exciting company that at that time in 2024 was growing from about 30 employees in a 10,000 square foot facility to about 130 employees in a new 100,000 square foot facility. And they needed to bring someone on board who can, who has some experience dealing with municipalities and institutions and building relationships with developers and financiers. And so obviously I have some background in managing nonprofit arts and background in economic development. So that's why the jump made sense. And also there is a real need for more housing. And I recognize that need. I'm totally on board with new urbanist principles and understand kind of where we're at in the American housing economy somewhat. And I think that, the mission pulled me alongside my friends who are running an amazing business that is kind of skyrocketing. So it's been a whirlwind since 2024, getting involved in learning the ropes of how to be a builder, how to be a modular builder and offsite construction. The learning curve was a little steeper than I even imagined. For the first 6 to 8 months, there was a lot of learning on my behalf, and but now I'm fully in it, and things are going well and managing all sorts of projects, and I'm having a blast, Dave.
I love it. Well, first, let's get the important stuff out of the way. What kind of music do you play?
Man, I play a lot of kinds of music, pretty much all kinds. I'm good at guitar and I'm good at singing. I still manage an electronic music party called Flavorless. We got our party this Saturday night. It's a pride party, so come on out. It's going to be a blowout. If you're in Chattanooga, you got to come to Frothy Monkey. Just a little party plug there for the homies. But I play all kinds of music. I love Americana. I love jazz. I'm learning bossa nova right now on my classical guitar sitting over there in the corner. Really, if it's music, I am interested in it. And I can value all types of different music.
Do you see any similarities between music and housing?
Oh, wow. Okay. Why didn't you prepare this question for me?
I don't know. It just came to me. It's fine.
Honestly, there's a lot of creativity that goes into not just building, not just obviously the architecture and designing, but also in putting together deals. You gotta be able to collaborate with a lot of different people with a lot of different pressures to figure out how to make some of this stuff work. And I know we're specifically talking mostly, I think, about the Chattanooga pilot program and affordable housing initiatives. And we'll get way more deep into the woods on that. But you have got to really think like a composer when you're putting together your capital stack and trying to figure out how to make these projects work, because it's really a difficult environment right now to pull this kind of stuff off.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's an art, right? I mean, business is an art, period, you know, and some people are really good at it. And some people, like, you wouldn't want me to sing. I can promise you. I can yell into a mic really well, but you don't want me to sing. Let's talk about Chattanooga first for a minute, right? You are from New Orleans. You got some work in Chattanooga, and you call Chattanooga home now. And I think that's great. What was going on and what is still going on in Chattanooga housing market at the moment?
Well, so, our population is experiencing a lot of growth. And I could talk forever about all of that. But, ever since really in 2008, which a lot of people have very specific economic memories about, we also have a memory in Chattanooga about Volkswagen announcing that they're going to build a plant in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And the growth that stems from that, as well as all the other stuff that we have going on in our community, a real big focus on the outdoors and outdoor amenities. We're the first national park city and in the U.S. And that has driven those narratives and all the work that leadership has done in Chattanooga to make us an attractive town has really paid off. And much like many other places in the United States, we are experiencing a housing shortage. So I think that we are really blessed to have a number of leaders who are familiar with, who are kind of forward thinking and also in the business world, who are familiar with principles of new urbanism and different pressures that are making the housing market difficult and making building new homes difficult, and understanding how the shortages work, understanding what role zoning plays in that, and bureaucracy and restrictions to building, and all of that. There have been a number of new initiatives that have been announced over the last couple of administrations, really. Obviously, the current administration that's in has been, getting to take a lot of credit for a lot of the things going on, including some of what we're going to talk about today. But, the Chattanooga Land Bank Authority was established in a previous administration. Right. And that's one of the things that we're working closely with now. And it's going to be paying dividends, and it already is. So, I don't remember what the initial question was. I just started rambling about.
I love
Chattanooga
it. It was
stuff.
something about music, housing, and what you're doing in Chattanooga. Well, listen. So I always like to, for anybody watching the show to understand what some of this means. So when you talk about the land bank, what does that mean to you?
Well, the Chattanooga Land Bank Authority was established sometime around 2015 as a kind of quasi nonprofit organization that stands on its own, but is tied with the city, that takes parcels of land that have been vacant or otherwise taken back by the city due to tax reasons or whatever, and has a bank of parcels of generally single family or sometimes commercial or whatever parcels that the city owns. And the land bank has an initiative or a mandate to use those parcels to build housing for Chattanoogans, and generally that's going to be in the affordable housing range. So they announced their first projects, releasing their first number of parcels, I believe back in 2024. We at Wind River Built applied to take part in that first program, and we were awarded one of the parcels. Our original application actually was quite forward thinking and kind of progressive and incorporated a lot of new urbanist principles. We wanted to put a little cottage court development on a single family, kind of a normal sized urban lot. And the land bank loved our proposal, but said, look, this is our first ever project. Let's not make too many waves. Let's make sure that this is a success. And we don't want to be getting creative with the code or getting creative with how things are going. So let's just do something simple. Let's do a single family home, detached residential home, and do a fee simple, for sale. Obviously it has deed restrictions on it, making it an affordable housing project that is, defined as such and managed as such, but it's a for sale project, not a for rent project. And it's one home that we're building in the South Chattanooga neighborhood of Oak Hills near Alton Park and St. Elmo, kind of down there in South Chattanooga. So we started that process. There were, a number of hurdles to kind of overcome as both organizations and others were learning how this process goes. How does the city and the Chattanooga Land Bank Authority actually deed property or donate property to a for-profit company like Wind River Built? What are the optics on that? How does that work? What are the legalities of that? How do they ensure that we're going to meet the expectations on our end to build what we say we're going to build and sell it for the capped price that we have to sell it at. So a lot of back and forth, obviously bureaucracy that takes a lot of time. Right. But now we have the home that we're building is a 700 square foot. Actually, it's our Cascade model. I saw you scrolling the website just a minute ago. Looked like you were scrolling our hospitality series, but if you go to our residential series, you'll actually see our Cascade is what we're building on the first ever Land Bank Authority parcel. And that should be done sometime midsummer. So we've broken ground and have built the home. The home is on our production line right now. Actually, it's not completely finished yet, but should be scheduled for delivery sometime this month or next month, and be ready for move-in in mid to late summer this year. So it's an exciting project. Ultimately, we build these homes. We built one of these homes up on Signal Mountain on a 1 acre parcel last year, and it sold for $400,000 within 15 days of listing. And it was, mid-November when we listed it. Pretty horrible time to be listing new homes for sale. And it sold within, it was under contract within 15 days for the asking price. This Cascade that we're doing for the Chattanooga Land Bank Authority, we are required to meet a maximum $200,000 capped sales price. And we had to figure out how to get the project done, even with the donated land for that amount. And, this represents us learning how to play in that sandbox, if you will.
So you have the Chattanooga Land Bank, and then there's also the pilot program that they have. And it's not a pilot program like a starter program. It is just the name of what they call this program.
Right.
Do they work hand in hand? Are they
not necessarily. Things? I think they can if the situation is right. Yeah. And the project that we're building for the Chattanooga Land Bank Authority is not taking advantage of the Chattanooga pilot program. Chattanooga pilot means payment in lieu of taxes. So, and it's generally going to be applicable to projects of 10 or more units that are for rent. And, there's a whole calculator that you can go to on their website to figure out how many units need to be at what area median income to be able to deal with the pilot program and receive the incentives. But ultimately, it's kind of a 10 or more units for rent, could be new or renovated housing. And, we're just building one home on the Chattanooga Land Bank Authority donated piece of property. So it's not eligible to be part of the pilot project. However, like I mentioned, this first project that we've got going on with the Land Bank Authority is an effort for us to kind of, well, I know we're going to get into the history of Wind River Built a little bit, but we're known as kind of a high-end provider. We do a lot in hospitality. We build a lot of resorts. We don't build them, but we work with a lot of people who are building resorts, and we build units for the resorts. So these are products that are selling for a premium nightly average. And we're not normally building really like affordable housing. We see a need. We know our community has a need, and we want to learn how to meet that need. And we think that we can through the modular methods that we've built. However, normally if our tile guy is dealing with a $60 piece of tile, he has to make sure that he's not dropping that tile, and we've got it placed just right, and there's no weird gapping. Not to say that an affordable housing project would have weird gapping, but we're probably not choosing a $60 piece of tile, and we're not going to allow the tile guy to spend 7 minutes on one piece of tile, whereas for some of the it's just a price point thing. So we are learning how to play in that affordable housing box, and we're doing that kind of one project at a time and trying to be smart about it before we take on potentially larger opportunities that may include the Chattanooga pilot program, that may include a number of other programs that Chattanooga's recently put out there, including potentially being part of Invest Chattanooga. You should look up Invest Chattanooga and learn a bit more about that program. But there's some really interesting and unique initiatives coming out of all of this kind of thought leadership about how to build more affordable housing in Chattanooga, coming from our leadership.
Yeah, I just pulled up this site, and I'm going to share it on the screen just because you said I should look it up. So, but yeah, there is an entire website just on this alone. So
yeah.
With all this stuff, I mean, Chattanooga seems to be taking a lead, right? Not just Chattanooga, but the country as a whole, the cities as a whole, mayors, politicians, communities, they're all struggling with affordability. They're all struggling with how do you make it work? How do you take a manufacturer or a developer like Wind River, right? Or just a developer in general who's hiring Wind River to build a project, whatever the case is. How do they make affordability work? A land bank's great, right? Give you some of the parcels of land we have. We agree on what we're going to build, right? You're going to build it, ... You get paid for building it, and we get an affordable structure. But they only have so much land. So how does that scale? That's the hard part.
And actually, even just to be a little bit more exacting about the Chattanooga Land Bank Authority project, they donate the land to us. We build it, we sell it. So we're on the hook. We're at risk if we can't sell that home for $200,000 to a qualified buyer, which meets 80% area median income. So we got to find that buyer. They have to be approved through these affordability. So it's a lot more complicated even than what you set up. The land bank doesn't continue to own the property. They don't continue to necessarily manage the property. It's up to the developer or the property management firm to actually deal with all those rules. However, back to your main point is, I think it kind of really goes back to what we were talking about with regard to thinking creative ways about, for lack of a better term, the capital stack.
Yep.
In a normal development project, developers are thinking about, how much it costs for them to borrow money from the bank, how much it costs for how much they're going to be paying for some of their investors who they're borrowing money from, how much money they're putting in and or land, what that worth is in land and or labor, and all those things, the places where you're receiving the funds to make this happen is your capital stack, right? And that's no different for affordable housing. Affordable housing developer needs to be considering, okay, well, what was, is the land being donated? Is there an opportunity for us to apply for the Chattanooga pilot payment in lieu of taxes or pilot program? Mm-hmm. Is there an opportunity for us to work with Invest Chattanooga? What other, neighborhood or community-centric organizations can we partner with that allows us to help this deal make sense? Because I can tell you right now that it is very difficult with the state of where prices are at with construction materials and with where labor's at. It's really, the reason why we have an affordable housing issue, one of the main reasons is because the market is not supporting building affordable housing. The market supports building high-end housing, large units, huge, 3,000 square foot homes. I guess, I probably end up walking my statement back a little bit, but what programs and partners can we lean on to help this make sense and actually work from a financial level? That has to be, that's a creative exercise, and it's a difficult exercise. And that's why Chattanooga is coming out with these really interesting new programs.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're not wrong, right? Because you have land costs, construction costs, financing costs, of the money itself, interest, and then taxes. And this is where the pilot program. So Chattanooga has a land bank now. Now they have a pilot program in lieu of taxes, right? That developers can work with. Are you seeing from somebody that actually is a practitioner that has to take these programs and utilize them and work? Are they working? Are they making a difference? Are they allowing you to have really get projects to pencil out?
Yeah, I think that question is still out there. I don't know that I have an answer to that question, partially because we are actively involved in a project right now. It seems like like that one project is working out, and we have another coming down the line with the Chattanooga Land Bank Authority, and I believe those two projects are going to work great for everyone involved. However, we have yet to place the home on the site, and we have yet to sell the home, right? So who knows what the future holds in store. And also, I'm not super aware of active projects taking advantage of the pilot initiative yet. We certainly don't have any projects in our pipeline that are taking advantage of the pilot. And these initiatives are all fairly new. So I think the jury's still out a little bit. Do they work? I'd love to say, yeah, they work great. Let's go. Every community should do this. But I think until we see, some of these projects actually come out of the ground, we won't really know, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, based on our conversation with Hanneke last week, right, who was one of the original writers of this program or helped pull the pilot program together, it sounds like there's several actually into the program taking advantage of it now, and it's starting to pencil out. So I guess we're going to have to come back to you and them and just see where it goes. But the idea of it works, right? How do you the whole concept of what these cities need to do is they are not building these projects themselves. So they need to partner with people, the developers, the builders, the manufacturers to build these products. All right. If they can't build the homes or the buildings or the, multifamily, whatever it is, then the problem doesn't get solved. And what I like about what Chattanooga is doing is they're not just taking a one-way approach where they're just saying, well, we give you some land. All right. Because that doesn't solve the problem. You still have all the costs of the material and the financing and everything that goes with it. They're saying we're going to give you, we have a land bank for those that it works for whatever you want to build. But on this other end, for you bigger developers, you bigger builders out there, we're also offering the pilot program, which is now going to allow you to, write off your taxes, so to speak. Like there will be no taxes, or however, it's a percentage, I believe she said.
That's right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're spot on. I do think that we see anyway. I think these programs are going to work. I'm excited to be taking part of it, and I'm excited to be living in a city whose leadership is working so hard to make something work. Because anyway, there's also the easy road where we just turn on the World Cup here coming up in a couple weeks and just veg out and not put any real work into while we got people living in the streets, Right. So that's kind of anyway. I'm feeling positive about the movement, and I'm excited to be part of a company that's taking part in some of this work.
This whole conversation, and we're going to talk about Wind River itself, right, and what you guys are building and what you're doing, and I'll show some photos up as well for those watching. But I mean, here's what we need to be spending more time on. And that's exactly what you and I are doing right now. It seems, like, all right, well, we're working through it, we're getting there, but this is the biggest problem. We're really good at talking to ourselves, right? You're in Modular. I was in Modular for 20 years. We could talk shop all day long, but that doesn't help anybody else that hasn't been in our space, right? And move forward. They're scared to dip their toes in the water, right? And being able to say, hey, these are programs that the city has put out there. These are the practitioners that have to deal with the hurdles of these programs and making them happen. And what are the real world case studies that come from this? This is where we need to spend our time actually talking this stuff through, because this is where we're going to inspire more conversation, or we're going to have a city leader in Nashville or in Kentucky or wherever else go, we should look at something like this. How does this actually truly work? So we have more people working on it, just not Chattanooga.
Yeah. And I'd also like to be really clear about something that maybe I haven't been very clear about. We are taking on this one small project. We build 200 units a year or so, right? So one unit for us learning how to do an affordable housing, we can take a little bit of risk in learning how to play in that sandbox. But our goal is to partner with expert developers who are really the ones to be experts on navigating some of these initiatives, putting together that capital stack. We want to be the best offsite builder in the Southeast. You know what I mean? And that means we are focused on lean production in our facility. We are focused on building relationships with our suppliers and materials manufacturers and getting the best prices we can, and ensuring that our labor is extremely efficient and that we're moving units through as efficiently as possible so we can meet the price points demanded by the market, or that some of these programs will support. But ultimately, we need excellent partners, especially developers. That's who we are looking for to really take advantage and take this to the next level. We need experts who are willing to and who are interested in being the very best at what they do. And that means that's from the legislator, that's from the nonprofit administrator, that's from the philanthropic community, that's from the development side, the land work side, the utility companies, the offsite construction builder, the crane company. We need experts around the table to make these projects happen. And we're just one of many experts that enable a project like what we're talking about through the pilot program or through Chattanooga Land Bank Authority to take place.
So you said Wind River, you guys build about 200 projects a year. Tell me a little bit about those projects and what is it exactly that you're building and focusing on? And then talk to me about how are you bringing the cost of what you build down so we can start hitting those attainable or affordable price points?
Yeah. So, we started off as a builder of tiny homes on wheels. Park model RV is the technical term for that product. And we still build park model RVs. And these buildings, these are technically RVs. They're on a steel chassis. They have wheels. They get pulled behind a truck. And oftentimes they look like homes. That's what the company started off as. And that's what a lot of people know us as. Our company name used to be Wind River Built Tiny Homes. When we moved into the fully modular construction phase, of course, we continue to build park model RVs. We are experts in small footprint building, but we are now able to build to IRC, International Residential Code, or IBC, International Commercial Code codes, to those standards, right? And so we're now building residential products meant for primarily single-family residential, primarily detached single-family residential. We are, learning our way into doing more attached and more multi-story projects. But, we take it one step at a time. We try to grow smart, right? But we were known as such a high-end provider of the park model RV product that we end up doing a lot of work in the hospitality sector. So we have a number, it kind of started in that campground and RV world. Glamping is a word that's out there that is often associated with companies like us and in the industries we work in. And we end up working with a lot of resorts, landscape hotels, micro resorts, developers doing 10 to 20 units in a beautiful place way out in the country, maybe near a national park or some unique place focused in nature. And we do a lot of work in that world. So a bulk of what you see in our facility right now is actually all hospitality related, as well as we've got some units that are going to golf courses and places like that, right? Really, really high end, small footprint structures. We also, we started building modular in 2024. So we're in our third year now of modular, and we're doing, residential projects. We'd love to be doing more and more residential projects, but, we're doing mid-high level finishes. Yeah. Of course, we're doing small footprint, and we design for affordability by doing a small footprint. We're not building generally 3,000 square foot homes. We're building, 700, 800, 900 square foot homes that can oftentimes serve as a starter home because it does meet that ultimate price point, what that mortgage ends up costing. And you're not having to sacrifice on the quality of your finishes and the quality of your lifestyle that you're living. You're just in a smaller footprint home. We get rid of a lot of the cheap space, which is a huge living room, right? And you still have the expensive space, which is the kitchens and bathrooms, right? So that's kind of where we are. We're doing a lot in hospitality and residential. Those are our two main focus areas. Mm-hmm. But what really sets us apart is we're one of very few modular builders or offsite industrialized construction builders who are willing to take on fully custom projects. So our business wasn't set up to just pump out 200 of the same unit every single year, and really be driven by prices going down and down, down, down. That's not really where our business model comes from, and that's not exactly who we serve. There are plenty of modular builders out there that are driven by that, and that are kind of on a race to the bottom as far as price goes, right? And building cheaper and building more efficient. And there are many advantages in modular and offsite construction that lend well to that race. But we find ourselves in a place, because of who we are, where our business came from, where we're serving more of a luxury client in a lot of ways, and a mid to high end finished home. And those are the projects we're building. So I know we're focused today on the affordable housing piece, and we are involved in a couple of affordable housing projects, and we are learning actively how to kind of how to reach those markets. But our bread and butter is really in hospitality and residential, especially small footprint residential and additional dwelling units, ADUs.
Yeah, and where's your shipping radius at? How far do you guys ship?
Well, because we're one of very few, if possibly the only modular builder that is really interested in doing custom, projects, we have projects all over the nation. Just got off a phone yesterday with a really cool project that's happening up in the state of Washington. And shipping units from Chattanooga, Tennessee to the state of Washington does come up very early in the conversation, because that's going to be a big shipping bill. But because of our expertise in what we build and the the fine finishes and our craftsmanship and quality, we have a lot of developers who want to work with us no matter how far away we ship. But I will say, for the residential piece, it makes the most sense, especially for a developer. Let's say they're ordering somewhere between 10 to 30 homes from us. It makes the most sense probably for them to be located somewhere within, a 300-mile radius of Chattanooga, let's say. Yeah. So, that obviously brings it into play markets like Atlanta, Nashville, potentially, Charlotte. We've got some projects coming up in Charlotte pretty soon, but Knoxville, Huntsville, Birmingham, as well as all the rural places that benefit from offsite construction, because you're not having to mobilize crews to rural off the beaten path.
So give me a size. You do a lot of custom work, you said. What's the biggest you'll go, and what's the smallest you go?
I mean, there's really no limits are only limited by what's legally allowable. But I will say, we do have a focus on custom. However, we're not doing one-off custom. So these are generally for orders of 5 or more. That's why developers are generally who our clients are. People ordering multiple units from us, at least 5, to enter into a custom pre-construction design engagement with us. And that's kind of where we start. Obviously, we do have our catalog of plans online. You can find us at windriverbuilt.com. I saw the little ticker at the bottom of the screen. And you can order a single home from us, but you really can't do much customization because those homes are certified the way that they are. There's, you can choose different color countertops and different things like that, but they're certified the way they are for the state that they're going in. And you're not moving windows around. You're not adding a couple feet to the living room or moving a wall or something like that. They're kind of locked in for those customers doing one-off orders from us.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it doesn't, a lot of times it doesn't make sense to keep doing one-offs because there's a lot more fees involved, going back to third-party inspectors and engineering and all the approval process you have to get for 50 states if you're shipping to all 50 or what have you, right?
That's right.
Love it. Where do you see the industry heading, Stratton? Are you seeing a lot of growth right now from your side, or is it kind of stale? What do you see happening from your end?
The offsite building industry, the modular building industry specifically. I think there is so much momentum. I think people are really waking up finally to the idea and to the advantages of what modular really can bring to the market. So, modular is not necessarily new in the United States. It just never took off in the way it has in other places in the world. And I think we're finally at a place where we're seeing that really the time advantage, us completing projects in 30 to 50% faster than standard site build projects, and kind of locking in that cost, advantage where we're not just, doing change order after change order after change order during the building process. People are really tired of that change order culture in the building industry. And I think that some developers are getting pretty savvy to being able to increase their efficiencies and increase the number of projects that they're doing per year through the offsite method. The quality is the other thing. But I will say the one hindrance to modular growing is people often come through the door thinking this is, there's going to be some kind of huge price advantage. And we just don't see that, from our facility. And I think a lot of our industry partners are also not necessarily saying that, purchase from us is going to be cheaper. Now, when you think of time as money and sure, that's a thing, but you got to quantify that, right? Like just how expensive is your money to borrow, and over what amount of time, and really what am I saving there from the time advantage? So there's a lot still of uncertainty. There's plenty of projects that aren't penciling with the offsite method, and we've been part of pre-construction, unfortunately, of plenty of those projects, and that's just kind of the nature of development and building. But when you see young companies like us growing up in the modular world, I think it says something good about how the industry is moving in America.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with you. I think that it doesn't pencil as less expensive. I hate using the word cheaper, right? It's not less expensive, but it does pencil on the side of, well, you want to be in it, 4 months earlier, 3 months earlier, 6 months earlier, a year earlier, right? You don't want to deal with the contractor day in and day out. I told you before the show, building a deck. Now I got a 30-day delay on my decking material. I mean, these things really hurt, and they cost you money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a real world example. I'm living it right now. I can't even believe it in my own world. I live on the edge of building better and moving things along. And here I am stuck making new decisions today. Stratton, listen, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you feel is super important that you want to get out today?
I think we covered a lot. I appreciate everybody for hanging on this long. For those of you who did, feel free to reach out to us. You can find us windriverbuilt.com if there are further questions, and we're all over social media and whatnot. But I look forward to really figuring out this housing problem that we're facing in the United States. And a lot of it's just a supply problem. So I say, let's build, would love to hook up with some financiers and developers who have the same mindset, and let's build it.
Well, and that's it. And let's work with the cities and the local municipalities to come up with programs that allow you to build it, right? Because like you said, you're on the verge of like upper to luxury when you build your stuff. Most developers are, because they have to meet that price point of somebody paying, $600 to $1 million or whatever it is, $500 to $1 million for a starter home today. That's insane, right? So how do you make it pencil? So the cities have a real problem, and their problem to me is, how do they work with you, your developers, your builders, and the other developers out there to give them a way forward? Because I think everybody wants to see less people living on the streets. We need programs to make it happen, because you can't build for free, because then you're not feeding your family and you're on the streets. It's a vicious cycle, right? All right. Hey, Stratton, what's your one thing, man? I know you got one thing.
Oh man, you know what? My one thing is funneling love to the world. I do that through music. I do that through creativity. I do that through building. So that's my thing, man. Funnel love to the world.
I love it. I have nothing to say. We're just going to leave it there. So we're going to leave all of you with all of our love. We're funneling love. Let's funnel love, Stratton. I wish I had a little heart emojis I could start putting on the screen, but I do not. All right. For the rest of you out there, we really do appreciate you tuning in today. We're trying to tackle this housing affordability problem by having conversations with practitioners, the people that have to put them in place, not just the policy holders. We did that last week. We're going to keep driving this conversation further forward so we can get more people that can help us solve this problem and get people that are using new technology or even old technology. Modular's not new, but the pilot program is. So keep staying tuned. We're going to drive this forward, and we're going to bring people like Stratton and others onto this show day in and day out, so we can make a real difference. Hey, Stratton, don't go anywhere. I'll come back to you at the end of the show. But for the rest of you out there, it's Wednesday, man. You still got 2.5 days to keep building it better. And like I always said before, and I'm going to put it up there one last time, we're always looking for great guests to have on the show. Pull out your phone, take a picture of that QR code above Stratton's head there. I'll move Stratton's head so he's not in the picture of it there to the left here, or maybe it's to your right. I don't know, but we'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to have you as a supporter of the show. The only way we can keep this live, real, and unedited is with all of your help out there. So keep us in mind. We'd love to have you on. My name's Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.